Pete, the biggest development of the day from the Gulf, what is considered to be the best short-term hope of stopping the flow of hydrocarbon poison, Top Kill, was itself stopped overnight by BP and then restarted this evening after an interval of about 16 hours. But in our fourth story in the countdown, at this hour, we still don't know if it's going to work, and we may not know if it has worked or is working for some time. BP moving the goalpost by stretching its original timetable on this fact. It could be another 24 to 48 hours before anyone knows whether the operation will in fact be considered a success. Just hours after reports surfaced that Top Kill had already worked, a technician at the BP command center telling the New York Times that the procedure had to be temporarily halted because too much of the mud used to plug up the leak was escaping along with the oil. Meanwhile, at a news conference, BP Chief Operating Officer Doug Suttles offering a slightly different version, telling reporters the company's temporary suspension of Top Kill was part of the operation process done in order to evaluate its progress. Top Kill resumed after an interval of several hours. The procedure began yesterday afternoon, BP using a heavy drilling fluid or manufactured mud, pumping that into the top of the well in an effort to stop the gushing of oil. If that works, cement would then be used to seal the well shut. The leak is more than twice as powerful as previous estimates, and at a mile underwater, the procedure has never been attempted this deep. Joining me now, the host of Sci-Fi Science on the Science Channel, author of Physics of the Impossible, and physics professor at City College here in New York, Michio Kaku. Welcome.
Glad to be on the show.
Competing versions explaining the suspension of this process here. It's normal, or the mud was in essence blowing back. Do we know which is right? Does it really matter?
It matters, but we don't know because we are in uncharted territories. Realize that we are witnessing the biggest science experiment of modern times, and we are the guinea pigs. Remember that most of these operations are done at the depth of a few hundred feet. Down a mile, pressures are 2,000 pounds per square inch. Take a car and put it on every square inch of your chest. Every square inch, and then let go. You'll be flattened within a fraction of a second. That's what we're up against. That's why we are clueless about what's really happening down there. And if an explosion takes place, we could be in worse shape than before. What
kind of explosion, and to what degree could we be in worse shape?
If you pump the mud too fast, too quickly, you overpressurize. You overpressurize a chamber, and it could explode, rupture the pipe, and then it starts all over again with a new rupture.
You've got 16 of them suddenly coming up from the floor of the ocean.
That's right. That's why we're very, very cautious. That's why they cannot go too fast with this, because, like I said, we've never done this before at this depth.
Have we ever done this before? We're just talking about this. Has science ever attempted to apply, or industry attempted to apply science to a situation without having the plan B? The analogy I used to you before was that it was beginning to sound like the collapse of the earthen dam that led to the Johnstown flood in the 19th century, or when the sandhogs used to go, before they knew about Caisson's disease, the bends, when they used to put the supports for the Brooklyn Bridge or other deep water bridges, and they didn't know what would happen when men tried to work in those pressures. Have we ever been in this kind of, as you said, science experiment before, to this degree?
Well, it sounds like the Three Stooges are in charge of this operation, running around hitting each other and not knowing what to do. It's not quite that bad, but basically we are in uncharted territories. Realize that we've never done something at this pressure, at this depth, with this temperature, and as a consequence, it's learn as you go with the economy of the Gulf states at stake. This is inexcusable. There is no plan B.
And that's the crime here. Everything since this happened is the best possible solution, I guess. They're doing the best that they can, but the crime is not having planned for this, or to proceed with drilling at this depth without a plan B.
That's what's so pathetic, the fact that what they are doing is the best they can do with our given technology. So that is really pathetic. Remember, if this thing fails, then we go to a relief well. That takes 3 months. So we're talking about August before they can pump cement into a relief well. And remember, this accident could go on for years. There's enough oil down there to last for years unless we cap it or siphon it or something.
So this is as if we sent men to the moon without ever contemplating how to get them back?
In some sense, yeah. It's a science experiment, and we are the guinea pigs, unfortunately.
The late news that we're just getting, literally in the last few seconds from the Gulf, is that the other thing BP may do as soon as tonight is this so-called junk shot. Do you have any faith in that? Has that been tried in anything deeper than a swimming pool?
Yeah, it's been tried. Basically, you throw everything but the kitchen sink. You throw tires, you throw rubber, waste, everything at the thing, hoping to entomb it. And remember that when Chernobyl happened in the former Soviet Union, they sent out the Red Air Force. The military finally stopped the Chernobyl accident. It wasn't the civilians, it wasn't people, scientists, it was the Red Air Force which stopped that raging reactor accident. Something similar may happen here. Obama may have to call out the military at some point.
One would think that would be an alternative to stuffing old tires into it, but perhaps old BP executives could be of some use here. Michio Kaku, professor of physics and host of Sci-Fi Science on the Science Channel. I've been an admirer of your work for many years. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.